Hi, everybody. We're on our last two sections for S in Algebra 1. This is graphing, and today we're going to do S.26, which is write an equation for a parallel or perpendicular line. I haven't previewed it, so it's going to be a surprise. Let's take a look and see what they're going to have us do. Okay, we have a line, and they give us a slope, and it says it wants it in slope-intercept form, unfortunately. I wish it were in point slope form for the following reason. If I know a point and a slope, there's no more work to be done. I can simply just write the equation, which is the reason that we love point slope form. But we can go ahead and write it in y equals mx plus b and substitute in our point and our slope, and we can find our y-intercept that way. It's just more work. We are interested in a line that is parallel to t. So basically what this tells us right there, parallel, that is parallel to line t is line u. So we want line u that goes through that point. And what this tells us is that the slope is equal to -3/5 because it's parallel to this one, because parallel lines have equal slopes. So basically, we know that the slope is -3/5 and the point is 5, 4. I'm going to use the y equals mx plus b. It would be much easier to do point slope form. And if you understand how point slope form works, there's no work to be done. You just simply write it in. But we're going to go ahead and substitute our y, which is 4, our m, which is -3/5, and our x, which is 5. And that's really 5/1. The fives will simplify, but I'm going to go ahead and put it over 1 so you can see it a little better. The fives simplify, or you multiply them and then divide. Either way, you get -3 plus b is equal to 4. You add 3 to both sides, and b is equal to 7. Now, you still have to write the equation, but the equation, of course, is y equals -3/5 x plus the 7. And we know that it's going to be parallel to this one because it has the same slope. And we know it's going to go through the 5, 4 because we forced it to. Anyway, here's our equation. Y equals -3/5x plus 7. Just be careful of this area right here. If it's subtraction, you have to put spaces. All right, we want D, which is perpendicular to line C. Now, this is telling us something about the slope. If you have perpendicular slopes, which it says C is perpendicular to line D, and if the slope of C is equal to -2/9, that's what that tells you, then the slope of D has to be the negative reciprocal, which is 9/2. If you multiply those two slopes, you always get -1. You turn it over and change the sign. That's another way to think of it. Basically, I want the negative reciprocals because they're perpendicular. And I kind of went through that in a different video. We wanted to go through the 0.17. So now they're really going to make me work for this because they want it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to write y is equal to mx plus b, and I have to substitute the 7 in for y. M happens to be this 9/2. X is 1 plus b. And I'm going to end up subtracting 9/2 from both sides. Well, that's 4.5. And when you subtract that, you get b equals 2.5, or 5/2. I can write it like this, or I can write it as 5/2. Let's see what it says. It says to write the numbers in the equation as proper fractions, improper fractions, or integers. They're going to force you to use fractions in this one. So we're going to have to use the 5/2. Basically, I had to get a common denominator to do this. This is 7/1, and I multiplied by 2 and got 14/2 and subtracted. So then I got my 5/2. So our equation is y equals 9 over 2 x, and we have a plus 5 over 2. I suspect that they're going to give us harder fractions as we go along, but hopefully not. Hopefully some of them will work out nice. All right, we want it perpendicular again, so we're looking at a slope of 2/3. And this is the point we want. So we're going to go ahead and do the work, and I'll go ahead and show the fraction. We have y equals mx plus b. I shouldn't probably write this again, but there it is. Y is 7. M is 2/3. X is the 8. And I'm going to write it 8 over 1 plus the b. So I end up with 16 over 3 plus b, and 7 over 1. You have to change it to thirds. So you're going to have to multiply it by 3, multiply it by 3, and I get 21 over 3. Subtract the 16 thirds from both sides. Now remember, as long as you have a common denominator, you just subtract your numerators, and we get b is equal to, this is going to be 5 over 3, isn't it? So we're almost done. We still have to write our equation. So this equation is y equals 2/3 x plus the 5 over 3. And looks like we're done. Hopefully this one will go fairly quickly because they are kind of hard. We want it to be parallel. So we want the slope to be 7 over 2. So I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. You probably don't need to write this, but it's safer if you do because you're going to be you're going to be substituting into it, and you don't want to get the y in the wrong place. The y is 4. The m is going to be the 7 over 2 because it's going to be parallel. The x is 2. Oh, nice, easy one finally, because it's going to simplify, isn't it? Plus b, and the 2's cancel out. We're going to subtract the 7 from both sides, and we get b is by itself is equal to -3. So we're almost done. I still have to write my equation in, and you have to be a little bit careful here. It says y equals 7 over 2x, so we want it to be parallel. See the parallel right there. And then I want -3, but here's the problem. If I put this, it's going to count it wrong. For whatever reason, I think IXL thinks that that's a multiplication. So they may have fixed it. I'm just not going to do it today. There we are. I'll test it later and see if it has to be put with spaces. As far as I know, it still has to have spaces in it. So there you go. Let's do another one. Okay, we want it to be perpendicular. So we want the negative reciprocal slope of this one, don't we? So the slope we're interested in is positive 3 over 4. This is going to be the slope of my line R. And it's going to go through, oh wait, line S, sorry. Line S, it says. R is this one over here. Line S is perpendicular to R. And we want it to go through the point -10, -7. So of course, I'm going to write my y equals mx plus b. Going to be tired of hearing that, I imagine. Y is -7. M is 3 over 4. X is my -10 there. And I'm going to have to do a little bit of simplifying here. Not a lot, but I do have to make this -30 over 4. I have to reduce it to -15 over 2. You can multiply it first and then simplify, but it's probably easy. Kind of, actually, this one was easier to multiply and then simplify, but you could have done this. It's just that a lot of people forget about the negative when they do that. Anyway, that's -15 over 2. There we go. See, easy to make a mistake when you're talking. Anyway, I have -7 over 1, and I need to change it to halves. So I have to multiply by 2 and get -14 over 2. And it looks like we're almost done. We have to add the 15 over 2 to both sides, and b is equal to a half. So I have my equation. I'll go ahead and just put it in. Y equals 1/2 x, no, 3/4 x, sorry. There it is. 3 over 4 x plus 1/2. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's 1 plus 1/2. Oh, it's going slow today. Okay, we want it parallel, and we want it to pass to the point -4, 10. So parallel means that we want that slope. Y is 10. The slope is -8/3. The x is -4, and it's plus b. Now there's no nice numbers here, so there's no simplifying. I just get 32/3 plus b. The good news is this is 30/3, so the subtraction won't be so bad. We subtract the 32/3, and we get b. I'm subtracting 32/3, and I get -2/3. If you need to see that, write it out yourself. I'm going to go ahead and put in my equation. Hopefully I'll be able to see it. A little hard to see, but I know what it is. It's going to be y equals -8/3 x, and then I have a minus, but I have to put the spaces probably, 2/3. Looks good. Okay, this one doesn't look so bad. Oh, but it's perpendicular. The good news is that we have a 6 in there, so it's going to work out evenly. If you didn't see it right away, that's okay. It'll probably get easier as you go along. So we want it to be perpendicular. Now the slope of f is equal to 6/1. So the slope of g is going to be the negative reciprocal of that, which is -1/6. And I'm going to go ahead and write it all out. Y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to put the y in, which is 5. And the m is -1/6. And now you're going to see why I like that 6. The 6 do cancel out, or you can multiply them and then divide. I get -1 plus b equals 5. And I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and b equals 6. So here's the slope I'm interested in. And I'm just going to go ahead and write it just so I don't mess it up. -1/6 x plus 6. Now, if you were using a graphing utility, a good idea is always to put your fractions inside parentheses if they don't offer that vertical fraction. In other words, you really shouldn't write it like this, because this looks a whole lot like this. So you want to be careful and put your fractions in parentheses in graphing utilities. It just makes it safer. Anyway, let's put it in. Y equals, and they don't mind if I put it that way, -1/6 x plus 6. Looks good. Sure is taking a long time. Oh, point slope form. Oh, but we have to put it in slope intercept form. Dang it. Okay. I wish they would let us do it in point slope form, because it's so much easier. For those of you who don't know your point slope form, this is it. You see, I know that the point is 3/8 and the slope is 2. I'm done. That's it. It says that line V is perpendicular to line U. Well, line U, that is still the slope. So the slope of line U is still 2, because it's in point slope form. We want it to be perpendicular to U. So V, the slope of V, has to be -1/2, doesn't it? And we want it to go through this point. So it's going to work out nice and even anyway. So the point we want is -8, 4. So I'm going to substitute it into the y equals mx plus b. I'm going to have 4 equals -1/2 times x plus b. And if you want to multiply this and divide, however you do it, you're going to get 4 plus b is equal to 4. And we're going to subtract 4 and get b equal to 0. Don't freak out. It's not that big a deal. We want v to have this slope, but we want it to have a y-intercept of 0, don't we? So it's just y equals -1/2 x. That's all. Don't put the plus 0, because that wouldn't be considered to be simplified. This would be the answer right here. So we'll put it in. Y equals -1/2 x. Done. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, so we have an equation. We want it to be parallel to line C. So the slope of D has to be equal to 4/5. They have equal slopes because they're parallel. And it's going to go through this 0.53. It's going to work out nice and even because 3 is equal to the slope mx plus b, and the 5 simplify out, and I subtract the 4 from both sides. Hopefully, you guys can do a lot of this in your head, and you're done. Y equals 4/5 x minus 1. And I can put my answer in. But I need to put a space probably. As far as I know, you still need the spaces. We want it to be parallel to line J. So K, the slope of K is 1/2. God, I wish they'd let us do it in point slope form because there's no work. Look, if I wanted to write this in point slope form, watch how easy this is. I could just write y plus 10 equals 1/2 x minus x plus 4. Done. That's it. You can, and no matter how ugly the numbers get, no matter how ugly the points get, you never have to do any work. In doing the y equals mx plus b and finding the y-intercept could be horrible. In this particular case, it works out really nice though. So y equals mx plus b. We're going to put in our -10 is equal to m, which is 1/2, times x, which is -4, plus b. This reduces to -2. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I'll go ahead and write it. And b equals -10, -8. And we're almost done. We have y equals 1/2 x, because that's our slope. And we ended up with -8. So space minus 8. Yeah, slope-intercept form. We want it perpendicular this time. Here's our slope, which is 5. So if the slope of Q is 5/1, the slope of R that we want is -1/5. And we want it to be perpendicular and go through that point. So the point is 5, -1 we want. It's going to work out nice and even. So y equals mx plus b. And we substitute it in. -1 is equal to -1/5 times x, which is 5, plus b. And this is just -1, isn't it? -1 plus b equals -1. Be careful. You need to add 1 to both sides, and b is really equal to 0. So there's no b value, or the b value is just 0. And we just get y equals -1/5 x. You don't put the plus 0. And you're done. And made it to the proficient level anyway. Don't know how much longer I want to do this. I guess it's not so bad. It's only been 20 minutes. Line H is perpendicular. So perpendicular to this slope, the slope of G is 8/1. So the slope of H is -1/8. And it's going to work out evenly because we got an 8, -4. And we're going to write our -4 is y equals m x plus b. And the 8 simplify, and I'm going to add 1 to both sides and I'm done. b equals -3. So we have y equals -1/8 x minus 3. Got to be careful there. Y equals -1/8 x space minus 3. There we go. Slope-intercept form still. Line K is parallel, so we want a slope of 1/3. So we've got 5 is equal to 1/3 x plus b. Notice I always put that x over 1. Just makes it look a little nicer. That's negative 2 plus b is equal to 5. And of course, b is equal to 7, isn't it? So I'm going to write my equation, y equals 1/3 x plus 7. And we're done. Okay, now we want u to be parallel, so we want a slope of 2. We've got 5, 7. So 7 is equal to 2 times 5 plus b. And that means b is equal to negative 3. So we have y equals, you'll notice that I'm simplifying this a little bit, 2x minus 3. Don't forget to put the spaces. Perpendicular means that we want a slope of negative 4 over 3. And we want this point. This is going to not work out very nice, but it's okay. Negative 4 equals 1 times 3/4. Sorry, I should put that first. I'm getting ahead of myself. 3/4 times the 1 for the x plus the b. That's y equals mx plus b. Subtract the 3/4 from both sides. And notice we're going to get b is equal to, this is 16/4. So when you add the 3, you get 19/4, but it's negative. If you want, you could have said, well, negative 4 minus 3/4 is negative 4 and 3/4. And for those of you who have done the multiplying and adding business, 4 times 4 is 16 plus 3 is 19 over 4, but keep your negative. Our slope is perpendicular. So our slope, oh my goodness gracious, I almost made a mistake. I did a parallel one, didn't I? Good thing I checked it. So sorry guys, messed all that up. So let's erase all this. And that was not my slope. My slope was supposed to be negative 4 over 3. Sorry about that. Negative 4 over 3. And then I'm going to add 4 over 3 to both sides. That's going to be even uglier, but it's all right. It's not that bad. This is negative 12 over 3 because it's a negative 4. And when you add the 4 over 3, you get negative 8 over 3. Almost made a mistake there. So our slope is negative 4/3. Y equals negative 4 over 3 x. And then we have minus 8 over 3. I would have been surprised and couldn't figure out what I did wrong. I may have to space out that minus there. There we go. Okay, slope-intercept form, parallel. That means that our slope, we have to solve for y in order to get it. It's going to be negative 1/2. If you can't see y, I'm going to go ahead and write it out. Now, normally I wouldn't do it since I'm running, I've been doing this a long time, but I should go through it. Before we can find the slope, we have to solve it for y. So I need to put this in y equals mx plus b form in order to identify the slope. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And I get 2y is equal to negative x minus 14. Then I'm going to divide everything by 2. Now, the only thing I was really interested in was the negative 1/2 x, but it is minus 7. This is the equation, but we're only interested in that slope right there, which is negative 1/2. So the slope of the line G, which we want to find, is the same because it's parallel. That's negative 1/2. And we wanted to go through that point. It looks like we're going to have a fraction again, darn it. And we have y, which is negative 2, is equal to negative 1/2, x is negative 5, plus b. So this is going to be 5 over 2. So I'm just going to write it, 5 over 2 plus b is equal to negative 2. And we're going to go ahead and subtract the 5 over 2 from both sides. And I'm going to get b by itself. This is negative 4 over 2, if you like, because this, I said over 2. This is negative 2 over 1, and so it's negative 4 over 2. When you add those together, you get negative 9 over 2. I said 2, and we're done. That's it. I just have to put it in. So y equals negative 1/2 x, And then my b value was equal to -9/2, I believe. That's right. Just gonna check it. Oh, maybe I can't. It's all right. I'm pretty sure it's right. So, oh, meant to put a space. -9/2. There it is. Damn. Okay. Darn spaces anyway. All right. V is perpendicular, so we want a slope of -5/6. And this is our point. We want 5 is equal to -5/6. X is -9. The nice part is that this does simplify a little bit. So we're going to have -3 up here. And unfortunately, we're going to have a 2 down there. So it's going to give us 15/2 plus b. Now this is really 5/1. So that's the same as 10/2. And when we subtract the 15/2 from both sides, we're going to get b is equal to -5/2. And if we have our point and our slope and our intercept, we're done. Y equals -5/6x minus 5/2. Space minus 5/2. All right, we want line U is perpendicular, so my slope is -3/5. Remember, the slope of U has to be the negative reciprocal there, which is -3/5. And we're going to go through -10/4. The good news is it works out fairly evenly. So we have 4 equals -3/5 times -10/1 plus b, and this is going to simplify to 6. So b is equal to -2. So we have y equals -3/5x minus 2. Oh, space. The bad news is that they're going to keep giving me subtractions because I keep hitting the submit instead of the space. The AI kind of figures out what the error is that you make and wants to make sure you don't keep making it. All right, looks like we have a slope of -1 and it's parallel. Okay, this one's going to work out nice and easy. When you see a negative x, there's really a -1 in front of it. So our slope is -1. 6 is y equals, our slope is -1. Our x is -5 plus b. We're going to subtract 5 because this is really positive 5 here. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and b is equal to 1. So we have y equals negative. If you want, you could put -1x. I don't think it'll count it wrong. And then I'm going to add 1. Should be fine. If you put -x plus 1, it should work as well. All right. 7 is our slope. We want it to be perpendicular, so we're looking at a slope of -1/7. There's our point. It's going to be pretty ugly fraction. So we're going to have y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to have 5/7, which is positive, plus b. Now I need to put the 2/1, and I need to change it to sevenths. So it's going to be 14/7. And then when we subtract the 5/7 from both sides, we're going to get b is equal to 9/7. So it looks like we're done basically. There's our slope and there's our b. I'm going to write it right here so I don't mess it up. -1/7 x plus 9/7. Why am I putting a space? Plus 9/7. And it looks good. Man. All right, we got it in point slope form, which I like. We want it to be parallel, so it's going to have a slope of 1/2. That makes it nice. So 6 is equal to 1/2 of -4 plus b. I'm going to add the 2 to both sides because this is -2 and b is equal to 8. So I'm going to write in my equation y equals 1/2 x plus 8. You can tell I'm getting a little anxious here to get done. It's been a half hour already. All right, in this one you do have to solve for the y, and I'll go ahead and do it for you. 12x plus 3y equals 1. Now I can see right away that it's going to be -4 is my slope because I'm going to subtract 12x and we get 3y equals -12x plus 1, and then we're going to divide everything by 3. Good habit to get into. -4x plus 1/3. Now that's not our equation. We want a line that is perpendicular to that. So the slope we're interested in is the positive 1/4, isn't it? And we want it to go through the 0.48. So now we're almost done. We substitute in the 8 is equal to 1/4, that's the m, times the x plus b, and we subtract the 1 from both sides and get b equal to 7. So I left out a few steps, but not too many. So our y is equal to 1/4 x plus 7. Hopefully they'll only give us 3 more. I'm really tired. All right, so we want perpendicular, and there's our slope. So we want the slope to be 7/10. And the good news is it's going to work out evenly for us. So 7 is equal to 7/10 times 10 plus b. For whatever reason, they seem to like this one, where the 7's cancel out and you get b equal to 0. I think people have been missing this one a lot. So this is just y equals 7/10 x. No plus 0. You don't have to write anything for that. Oh, geez, they're going to make me do 10 of these? All right. Point P has this equation, so we're going to solve it for y. We get y equals -2x minus 2. We want it to be parallel, so the slope is -2, and it goes through -4, 1. So 1 is equal to -2 times -4 plus b. We're going to subtract the 8 from both sides because that's a positive 8. And b is equal to -7, isn't it? So we're almost done. Y equals -2x space minus 7. Looks like it's parallel, and I have a -7 for my b. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'm going to do 8 more of these. I can't see that they're going to get much harder, so I may give it up. No, I don't like to do that. Okay, perpendicular to J is line K. So the slope of K is perpendicular. So the slope of K is -10/9. This one's going to give us a fraction. The point we're interested in is 6 -10. And so we have -10 is equal to -10/9 times my 6 plus b. They probably thought that I messed up the last time because of the 9 and the 6 business. 3 goes into 9 3 times and into 6 2 times, and there's no more simplifying. That's -20/3 plus b, and this is -30/3, isn't it? Because it's really -10/1. I have to add 20/3, so I get b equals -10/3. And we're basically done. Here's our 2 parts that we need. So y equals -10/9 x, and then I need a space minus space 10/3. And this may be my last one. I'm getting tired of this. All right, x minus y. This is called standard form, by the way. And getting standard form into slope-intercept form is always the same. You always subtract the x and you always divide by the coefficient on the y. So we subtract the x from both sides. And then we divide everything by -1. So y is equal to x plus 7. I just divided everything by -1. Now in IXL, for whatever reason, instead of dividing everything by -1, they multiply both sides by -1. Either way, you still change the sign of everything. And so we have a slope of 1. And since it's parallel, we're going to have a slope of 1. If it had been perpendicular, it would be a slope of -1. So we have 7 is our y equals mx plus b. And of course, b is equal to -2. So we're almost done. M is 1 and b is -2. So y equals x space minus 2. You don't have to put the 1 in front of the x. In fact, it may count it wrong. I don't think it would, but never know. All right, G has an equation. We want it to be perpendicular, so we want a -1/8 slope. So the slope we want is -1/8. We want it to be perpendicular to this one. We have -2 is our y equals m. X is -8 plus b. This, of course, is 1. So b is equal to -3. We're getting there. Oh, I just really wish they wouldn't always do that, but that's okay. We want it to be parallel, so we want a slope of 1/7. So our y is 2 equals 1/7 times x plus b. We're going to subtract the 1 and get b equal to 1. Looks good. I have to solve for y. Shall I do it in my head? Might as well. Y is equal to -1/4 x. And if you want to see it, it's -3. So this is the equation of line P. I just converted this by solving for y. And then parallel to P means that that's our slope. We want it to go through -4, 5. So 5 equals -1/4 times -4 plus b. This is going to be 1, so we have to subtract 1 from both sides. B equals 4. So we have y equals -1/4 x plus 4. Yeah, looks good. Okay, let's see if we can get it under 40 minutes. We want it to be perpendicular, so we need a slope of +3/8. Needs to be perpendicular to this one. And we've got a point of 2, 1. So 1 equals 3/8 times 2 plus b. We have to simplify. And we're going to subtract 3/4 from both sides. This is 4/4 equals 3/4 plus b. So b is equal to 1/4, isn't it? So our y equals 3/8 x plus 1/4. Looks good. 2 more. And perpendicular means that we have a slope of 4. If this slope is -1/4, then we want +4/1, which is just 4. The good news is it's going to work out evenly. So we have 10 is equal to 4 times the x plus b. That is y equals mx plus b. We subtract the 12 from both sides, and b equals -2. So y equals 4x space minus 2. Looks good. Yep. Last one. Now I won't make a mistake this time. We have 5/4. We want it to be parallel, so our slope is going to be 5/4. It's going to work out evenly because it's 8, 4. So 4 is equal to 5 over 4 times 8 plus b. That's going to simplify, and we're going to get 10 plus b is equal to 4. Basically, I divided that 4 into that 8. We're going to subtract the 10 from both sides and get b equals -6. So we have a b, we have an m, and y is equal to 5 over 4x minus 6. And we are done, guys. Thanks for sticking with me. Hope you guys can do it yourself. I don't know if you'll make it this far. You got to be pretty persistent to get all the way to the end. Anyway, there's your 100. Hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you back again. The bad news is, as soon as I'm done, it disappears because I'm a teacher. So bye, guys. Have a good day. See you back again.